Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Finally I Choose Me,
Yes.
uh, along with our beautiful host, Latanya
Hey,
Gooden.
hey, everybody.
So, we're here tonight to have just a real conversation about grief,
Mhm,
especially during this time, during the holidays.
mhm.
How do we maneuver? How do we get through? Is so much happening,
So
and there's so
much.
many types of grief, and not just grief from a loss of a loved one. I mean, it's
Mhm,
a lot happening in our community that we're grieving. It's global grief.
mhm,
It's trauma. Just so much is happening, and
mhm.
so how do we? Uh, Take a look at this and not allow it to impact us so that we are living a quality life day to day.
Yes.
And so we're just going to go ahead and kick it about this topic. We know grief is experienced so differently depending on the
Mhm.
person, depending upon the loss.
Yeah.
And loss sometimes, even though uh, we know that no one lives forever, a
Right.
loss is a loss and it impacts us greatly when we
Yes.
lose people that we love. And so I describe grief as a sudden overtaking of shock, which is
Mm.
one of the phases of grief, but
Wow.
kind of feeling like you're in a chokehold
Yeah.
and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't
Mhm,
breathe, you can't see, you
mhm,
can't think, and it kind of numbs you. Uh,
mhm.
Whether you knew it was coming or not, what really prepares us for
Mm.
a loss?
Mm.
And so getting through the holidays, the Thanksgiving season, for some people, it's the first time that they are experiencing Thanksgiving without their loved one.
Yes.
For some, it's still very fresh and new. So we're going through Thanksgiving, we're going through whatever it is that you celebrate during this time and Christmas.
Yes.
I just thought it was a great time to discuss how do we get through this and wherever the conversation leads us. But we want to provide some steps, some thought to people who are suffering currently. I want to
Mhm.
say first, I'm sorry for your loss um, during this time. If it was
Yes.
recent, currently, some people lost loved ones just yesterday, some lost loved ones
Yes.
today. And so we want to offer our condolences for you
Yes.
first timers who are experiencing the holiday without your loved one. We are here and we just want to offer prayer and compassion during this discussion. So,
Absolutely.
Miss Gooden just, wanted to come on in and
Mhm.
have this conversation. I have grieved greatly, great loss. Parents,
Wow.
aunties, grandparents, nephews. Um, and so I understand. But again, each person experiences grief differently. So our goal is just to bring some conversation to this. And then, of course, give you some tools, some ways to think of things as you move forward. So, Tanya, tell me what led you to be a part of this evening?
Well, first of all, thank you, Dr. C, for allowing me to spend this time with you. Thank you for being a pivotal part of Critical Conversations Network. I appreciate you, your expertise. For those of you who may are tuning in for the first time, Dr. C is a transformation coach, licensed clinical social worker. I appreciate her knowledge. If you live in the Detroit metro area, if there's anything going on in terms of mental health, you will probably see Dr. C on stage, on the panel, being interviewed because of what she does. But what led me here, this holiday sits differently because when I think of grief, it's not just for someone that's gone. I am divorced. This is my second year being divorced. So I feel I'm grieving a marriage, even though it was a turbulent one. I am grieving because I am no longer that person's wife. I am no longer in that capacity. Also, I've experienced some turbulence in my family in terms of our connection as a whole. Um, as you may know, and as many have talked about even on social media, there seems to be some type of attack that is going on in families. They're being broken apart by past trauma. Maybe there are some things that no one talked about, but then when someone does talk about it, you become the black sheep. Why would you bring that up? Why would you talk about that? Why would you want to? It's been 40 years. You should be over that. You should be beyond. Move on. Get a grip. So with all that, and then my uncle, this is the third year, I believe, that my uncle's been gone. And my family, to go back a little bit, God gave me family that's not just by blood. I have a aunt that is not blood related, but she and my mom have been best friends. I'm 50. So I would say 42 years of that 50, this family has been in my life. That's family. That's a long time. So when we get together, when we were young, it was always my auntie, my uncle, all of us at their house. So when he passed away 2.5 or 3 years ago, it left a huge void in what I knew as our family traditions. When you're accustomed to everyone coming together, eating, laughing, talking, and then someone isn't there anymore. Also, my dad, he's not my stepdad per se. I call him dad, but my mom's husband, my dad, passed away in 2015. So my mom being a widow, there's these changes. You mentioned something important, like grief does kind of paralyze you sometimes when you're accustomed to having these people like permanent fixtures in your life. You don't expect them to grow older. It's like, if I'm here, you here. Don't ever go anywhere. We gonna go home with the Lord together. So I'm torn a little bit in my emotions this year. I am becoming, I am growing, I am learning me again. Outside of my marriage, I'm getting back to who LaTanya is. I've got my daughter. So it's almost as if sometimes when I feel happy, I feel guilty, for being happy. Like, no, this is the time where so-and-so used to be here. So-and-so used to be here. So I feel happy on one end, but sad on one end. I don't know if those emotions can exist together, but
They
for me,
can. They can. They can. I think too, when you look at grief, because in my assessment of people, including myself, it wasn't a discussion of how you feel when you lose someone. I was just sharing, my father died when I was 17. No one sat me down and said, now your father is gone and blah, blah, blah. My grandmother died when I was 9. I just remember standing there. There was no conversation. There was no communication. And so as we get older and we experience these things, we're kind of left to figure it out on our own. And then there's no complete path. Of course, scientifically, there are things that's researched and said about what's considered normal grief and what's considered a healthy timeline for grieving, but we all have a different experience. Right now, it seems like we're experiencing bereavement overload. You get over, you lose one, and the next couple of months it's another. And then we have almost adopted the fact to believe that because we've lost, it's the holiday season. Well, they come in threes. I refute that statement. Come on. Because it's not founded anywhere. And a lot of times we create our own stress level by what we're thinking and what we're saying. And we do know death is the inevitable and no one knows when or how. However, we have to learn how to recondition our emotions, because we have to retrain how we think and see things, because a lot of times it's already painful when you lose someone. It's already painful. That's just what it is. But how I began to maneuver emotionally about it, we just need to just be. A lot of times we're trying to figure out what if this, and that's that bargaining. What if that, or if I this, when it's nothing we can really do. And that sounds really harsh, but it's a part of your life at this point. When we lose someone, it changes our identity. It changes the world that we once knew.
That's
And
right.
so then you're trying to figure out, how do I maneuver in this world
Yes.
without this person? And we try to rush the process. We try to work it out, drink it out, whatever, when we just have to be and
Yes.
accept what we're experiencing and feeling. And it's uncomfortable. It's
It
uncomfortable.
is.
I've had clients say, well, it's almost been 30 days. I'm like, 30 days is
That's
not enough
nothing.
time to feel normal again, because you don't
Right.
feel normal. You
Right.
don't feel the same, because you're not the same. And
Right.
so we have to, day by day, moment by moment, minute by minute, process our lives again.
Right.
When we lose someone that we love, like losing
Right.
a mother is like,
Oh,
you
Jesus.
like, how do I live without my mother?
Come on.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It's a loss. It's a greater loss for many. And so depending on the relationship, depending on how you're related, even in friendships and other connections, determines how you process that and how you walk that out. And then it intensifies during the holiday, because like you said, for some families, they're used to coming together.
Yes.
They're used to having this person at the table.
Yes.
Maybe it was the patriarch or the matriarch who's
Yes.
no longer there. And how do I allow myself to still enjoy my holiday without guilt and without saying I need to choose sadness or happiness? No, you can experience them both.
Okay.
And so it's about learning how to be a little more intentional in spite of how you feel, because how you feel is how you're going to feel.
That's right.
I mean, you have to process of, what does my life look like now?
Yes.
And normalizing it to some degree, to the best of your ability.
Absolutely.
But I think what I've seen oftentimes is, when people lose someone special to them, for a little while, they become debilitated. It's like, even, the stages of grief, the shock, the anger, the depression, all of those things are very real. And you have to allow yourself to go through those stages. One may come before another, but one that stands out for me is, a lot of times, is anger. A lot of people suffer in anger, like, why now? Or why did it have to happen this way? And all of that. And it's a very real emotion. And we have to process that emotion. We have to learn how to be okay with being angry, but don't destroy my life in the process, or don't destroy other people in the process. It's okay. Because it was a loss, and anger is a real emotion. And so a lot of times we will suppress it, because we were taught to survive, hurry up.
Yes.
You got 3 days, you got to go back to work.
That's right.
The weakness, the lay up, and, be immobilized. But I'm grieving. And that means, again, something different for everyone. And so what does it mean to you? Like, what does it mean to you? Defining grief for yourself. And what is it that I'm currently experiencing, especially now? Well, of course, sadness. Last year my mother was here, this year she's not. So that's a great loss. So that's sadness. But even in experiencing sadness, if you have children, or if you have a spouse, or if you have other people, you have to learn how to become a little intentional about getting in the space of still celebrating in honor of the loved one.
I love that.
Of the legacy. What does the legacy look like? Now, hear me. I'm not saying the emotional part is not going to be there, because it is. My mother's been deceased 20 years. And yes, I thought about her yet on Thanksgiving, because my last holiday with her was Thanksgiving. And so you have to, like, we have Princess says she had to reinvent herself. And that's so
my mom. Hi, Mom.
That's so important. And what does that mean? Like, what do I need to do? Do I start a foundation? Do I, talk about the loss? in forums. What can I create out of this pain?
Yes. Yes.
And
We
it's
have
it's
a
a
couple
very
comments. Hi, Zeta. Thank you for joining everybody. This is good. Thank you, Mama. Thank you all. Now, my
So-
sister Zeta is in the comments, and we've talked about grief as well. And she said something really important. I want to talk about this right here.
Mhm.
There's no normal grief, and there's no expiration date. Because sometimes, have you found that people will try to kind of box you in? Like, you need to be beyond that. Now, come on up out of there.
Yeah.
Is there a good grief?
There is a good grief. The normal, you say there's no normal grief, let me tell you what's abnormal.
Okay.
What is abnormal is when it becomes when your mental and emotional health is impacted where you're no longer functioning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not talking about having a day where you cry or you're feeling sad. I'm talking about a day where you might think about killing yourself. I'm talking about where you can't work anymore because you can't contain yourself. I'm not talking about in the initial phases of it, but over time, if you can't work, over time, if you're isolating, over time, if you're not eating, over time, or either you are angry and disruptive, when it starts to destroy you, that's not normal.
Ooh-wee.
It
Wow.
can destroy you. It can, because it's hard to maneuver through what you call your initial bereavement, your initial mourning. And the mourning has 4 or 5 other tasks connected to it. So you're going through several phases, but we don't talk about it. We don't educate ourselves about it. All we know is we in pain.
Okay.
For instance, I had a mom, and bless her heart, her son passed away, and I really thought about her the other day. He was 4. He had illnesses. And what she realized through his death was that she has lived her life through her kids.
Wow.
Now, who am I when this person goes? So the reinvention, the self-discovery, the legacy, identifying it, and go with it. Go with the flow. Don't try to force or rush, or like you said, it's been 30 days. You still laid up about that. You know, and learning how not to allow people to derail your process.
My goodness. My God.
Because they will. Even believers, where's your faith? Well, my faith has nothing to do with the pain I feel of a loss. And so you have to be very careful on who you allow in your space during the time of loss and grieving.
Yes, absolutely. But why do we do that? Why do we spookify things? It's got to be your faith isn't intact, or you got to be doing something wrong. Why do we equate real emotions with the devil? That's the devil.
I honestly think, and this is my own assessment, I haven't read it. I think some have been in church for so long that they just churchified.
Woo-wee.
If I can call it that.
Yes, you can.
Haven't allowed themselves to process their own lives, their own thoughts, their own emotions.
That religious spirit, mama, that's what it's called.
They try to hurry up, and because church is the place where you can appear to be okay when you're not.
We real good at that.
And so for you to suffer long and you're serving, or you're a leader in ministry, then there's judgment.
Yes.
Well, no, I'm in pain. You don't know the relationship. You don't know what this meant to me. Yes. And so that's why it's so important to make sure your space is sacred.
Oh, I like that.
Make sure your space is sacred. Sometimes silence is just golden, because you're gonna be emotional, you're gonna be vulnerable, you're gonna be cranky. So when somebody says something crazy, you might snap.
Yep, you might.
And so that's why it's real important to know what you need. And sometimes you just don't need anything. Just to be left alone.
Just to be left alone. Well, let's stay right there for a minute, because I get nervous. My mom is here. Isolation. When people choose to isolate, I get nervous. If I haven't heard from certain people, if they're quiet, because a lot of things happen when we're in isolation. What is a way that we can tell healthy isolation versus I gotta do a drive-by right now?
Well, the word isolation gives a depiction that something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
People
Mm-hmm.
have a right to be alone.
That's true. That's true.
And a lot of times people make assumptions that you need something that you don't need.
Okay. Okay.
Now, of course, if you haven't heard, it's nothing wrong with doing a wellness check. Hey, I'm just checking
Yes.
on you. And that's it.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
sometimes people are responding to the loss of others out of what they need instead of what that person may need.
Okay.
You may need 25 people around you.
Okay.
So then you assume when someone else experiences a loss, that's what they need. When they
Right.
need to flip opposite. I need to just be left alone for a minute so I can
Yes.
breathe, so I
Yes.
can focus. And
Yes.
so we have to be real careful that we're not trying to support people out of our own needs.
Okay. Okay.
And a lot of times that's what happens. You're
I
saying
agree.
things to me out of what you experience. That's you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And we experience grief differently. For example, when my grandmother passed away, I needed to be in her room, wrapped up in her blanket, next to her bed. My mom didn't need that. She needed to move forward. She needed to be able to say, my mother lived. I loved her. This chapter is concluding. She'll be in my memory. But everyone doesn't need that person's articles of clothing everywhere. Everyone, that was the opposite. I have to say, Mama, you grieve your way. Because I had an attitude. I'm like, where is my grandmother's stuff? I need everything in this room to be the same. Turn on Jimmy Swaggart. I need to hear TBN in the hallway because I need to feel like she's still here. But my mom didn't need that. She needed to be able to
And
go through a different way.
A part of us need that because we're afraid to let go.
I was, yes.
Because how do I reinvent myself? How do I live my life? How do I Zeta says that's called reverse psychology. Like how I don't want to let go. So whatever I can put in my head to make it seem like this ain't happening.
Yes.
That's what I'll do. But then it keeps you stuck.
You stuck.
See, you can grieve and not be stuck.
Ooh, all right now. Okay.
Because you're gonna grieve. Like the last client, I told her, I said, you're gonna grieve the loss of your son. I can't sit here and give you any remedy to say that it's gonna get better quicker or later. You can one day feel okay and the next hour not feel okay. However, who are you now? And who do you want to be? And here's the thing. How do you honor the loss?
Wow.
So that their life has not been in vain.
Yes.
What can I do with this pain? I'm not saying it's going to take it away, but at least it's when you say, is it good grief? Well, it's activated. My pain, I am putting my pain in action.
Yes. We got a comment here. My sister says, when I lost my husband, I had to move forward with getting his things removed from the home. It was different with my mother. I would see her regularly on every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And when she passed, I didn't know what to do with my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So like your mom said, I had to reinvent myself and move forward in my life and start doing things on that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that will be beneficial to my mental status. Thank you for sharing that, Zeta.
Absolutely. And then so that means preparing. Now, of course, when you initial loss, you don't know what to do, but you can decide, okay, what can I do to not to replace, but to refill the space?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because who replaces your mother?
No one.
So one of the things I would do, I would buy another mother something for Mother's Day.
Oh,
It
that
wasn't
is
my mother,
beautiful.
but I need to participate in this. So what I would call stuck
Hi,
grieving is,
Apostle.
again, when you are not moving forward in life, like when the grief is now maybe causing physical ailments, when your mental health is not just experiencing a shift, but when it has become chronic. Because keep in mind, mental illness is birthed out of an inability to cope. And so
Wow.
when you when you can't cope, when you can't move forward, when you're sick, when things are happening mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that would be considered stuck in the phase of grief,
Right.
where it
Right.
has caused these other factors that work against your livelihood.
Well, how do you sensitively, if you notice some things with someone that's grieving and it appears to us that they're stuck, now they know more than us, but on the outside looking in, it looks as though they're stuck. How do you sensitively try to pull them out of that? Or can
And
you?
see, that's the thing. We can't pull people out of anything. We can, depending upon the relationship, if you see me just maybe my hygiene is poor,
Yeah.
my wigs is matted to my head, that's something wrong with me if you see that. And depending upon the relationship can determine how you approach me.
Okay.
Now that I might not do nothing, but at least you can. And see, that's the problem, is how you approach people.
Okay.
When I was struggling with the loss after my divorce, one of my girlfriends said, "Sis, let me walk this out with you." I didn't know what she was talking about. She was a therapist, and baby, she took me down through there.
Wow.
But even in that, I discovered I had never really talked about the grief of my mother. I hadn't really talked about the grief of my father. So when we grieve, it triggers other loss.
Yes. Ooh-wee.
And so you're not just dealing with the one thing that you've experienced. All of the loss come to surface.
Yes. Like when a funeral happens, you bawling because it's like everyone who then passed away in your life, you get this rush of emotions in that one place. Wow.
And you're right. Zita said you can become stagnated, and you can. And your life is no longer, you're not living a healthy life. And I've seen it, where someone lost their mother and they just ain't been able to function again. You know what I mean? And it's such a vulnerable time mentally and emotionally and spiritually, because there are those who get so mad with God that I ain't going to church because he took my mama, he took my daddy, and if he loved me, why would he do that? That's the thing we won't talk about.
That's it. Anger. That's that anger.
I'm mad at God. My faith is no longer what it was because my mother didn't have to die like that, or this didn't have to. God let this happen. And so how do we help those who feel that way? That's right. You got to allow people the space to be themselves.
True. That's good. I want to know too, when it comes to grief and the churchical experience, we have the funeral, we have the family hour, we sit with the family for an hour or two, and then sometimes there's a disconnect because maybe we don't even reach out beyond once the chicken wings and the pound cake is gone. Some people don't come back from some things.
They don't.
My mama gone. That's one reason I came to church. So she gone. I ain't coming back. So how do you think, what can we do to try to keep a connection without seeming intrusive?
Well, see, and I know I'm so direct. You can't stay connected to somebody who don't want to be connected.
True. True. We got a comment, back down memory lane memorial, which we had and was successful because it brought back all the good memories of our loved one that we lost. That's a nice thing. I like that.
So one of the things that's good. When I created Free to Grieve, it was to let people have the freedom to say and do whatever they needed to do in honor of their loved one. So if it was storytelling, tell me about your nephew. What was his favorite color? What was his favorite phrase? What is it that he liked to eat? Sometimes just those simple things. Well, tomorrow in honor of my nephew, I'm gonna eat oxtails because that's what he loved. Just some simple things.
I love that.
To honor them. Sometimes we make it bigger than what it is. The truth is they're not coming back, and we want them here physically, but it's not happening. So how can I do some smaller things, day-to-day, weekly, anniversaries, their birthdays, that honors them? Yeah. And so it keeps the memory alive.
Yes. Yes. I feel sometimes that I'm a little hesitant to have conversations about my deceased loved ones because I'm afraid it's going to be too emotional for someone else. I love talking about my dad. I love talking about my uncle. But to my mom, who's his widow, I don't want to trigger anybody.
Well, you don't know until you ask.
That's very true.
See, we make a lot of assumptions, just period. That's one of my pet peeves, period. Don't just ask. Like, just will it trigger you if I talk about this?
Okay.
Or can we, during the holiday season, like now, can we take an hour and share a memory or share a thought? I used to go and do grief with Crime Stoppers. And those families had lost loved ones to violence. So it's nothing that's different than my 90-year-old grandmother died.
Very different.
A loss, but when somebody takes the life of your loved one, that creates a different dynamic.
Right. It does.
And it's nothing you can say to change that thought.
That's right.
But what can we do? It's still a loss.
Yes.
How do we manage that anger? How do we manage you feeling like if I ever see this person, I'm gonna take them out the game? That revenge.
Yes.
So we have to create sacred spaces for people to say what they need to say.
That's good. Thank you, Zita. I can definitely say that. Is it okay to speak about that? And my mom said that the bereavement group she works with allows people to bring a picture of their loved one. I've seen people, for example, this example, I work in healthcare. And when you are checking a patient in, we verify some key identifiers to make sure we got the right person, right chart. We verify who their emergency contacts are. So I said something like, we have your grandmother as your contact. The man broke down. Yeah. I had no idea grandmother had passed 24 hours ago. I felt horrible. He was like, I don't even know if I can do the appointment today. It just took him
out.
Woo! He says, that's your fault. That's your fault, ma'am. It just hit me that my grandmother was my major emergency person on everything. And I'm going to have to take her out of there and put somebody else in. And you just made it real. So now what I do, I say, who should we have as your emergency contact? Who should we? I'm not mentioning nobody no more.
Yeah, but you didn't know. But you didn't know. And so, I mean, it's hard to. I remember I had a kid when I worked in residential, and he was getting out, and he was so excited to get out so he could show his grandmother he had changed. Baby, that grandmama died while he was in that program, and we had to tell him that. I began to cry over my grandmama. I'm 30-something. My grandmother died when I was 9. And so we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
That's right.
And sometimes, you don't know what to say. So say nothing.
Okay. Okay.
Because sometimes saying the wrong thing is the worst.
Ooh, church folk bad at that.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
sometimes it's a gesture or, hey, I'm sorry for your loss. That's
Yes.
it. Because when you say it's something you need, I need my mama back.
Come
No,
on.
it ain't nothing I need.
Come on.
So if it's something you're going to do, just do it.
Just do it. That's good.
Just
Don't
do
ask. Just do it. And
Just
then
do
the
it.
saints said, well, what happened? Well, were they sick?
That's because
Oh.
we are fed off of other people's pain.
Jesus. Ooh.
Why you got to know what happened?
Why? Do you need to know?
But that's the culture. That's the culture. And
That's
we
the
have to
culture.
be careful
Yep. That's
of
the
that.
Yep.
When I lost my baby at 6 months pregnant.
Wow. Wow.
She lived a day. She died the next day. Oh, I cannot describe to you the pain. And people would say, just have another one.
What? How insensitive is that?
You could just have another, but I wanted that baby.
Right.
They would say to me, you're young, just have another one.
The wrong thing. That's very insensitive.
And so people are insensitive. People feed off of other people's pain. That's why you have to be careful. So during the holiday season, is when you're grieving, it's real important to know and decide who you're going to be around.
Yes.
Who you're going to be around. And if you decide not to be around anybody, that's okay too.
That's okay too. Yes.
Then you have to be intentional. You know the day is coming. You know the first holidays are coming without them. Being intentional about your time on that day is really important.
I love that.
So preparing for first times, preparing
Yes.
for that absence.
Yes.
But even like I've given out ornaments with the picture of the loved one and put them on its tree, or create a space over a chair. When my son graduated from college, they had a little space in honor of my mother. And these things are simple things, but it helps you to honor their presence that in your life, even though their physical presence is no longer here.
Okay.
And so you have to be intentional. Journaling. If it's something you want to say to your loved one.
Oh, I love that idea.
Write it out.
That's nice. I like that.
Just say, look, Mom, Dad, whomever, today is the day. I miss you. I wish you were here. If you were here, I would say this, or I would do this. But it's just a way to release emotions and thoughts that you do not want to suppress.
Wow. I want to read Zita's comment. Sometimes the family or the people that are grieving don't need rebuttals. Sometimes they just need your presence.
That's it.
Someone just to listen to the pain that they're enduring in that moment. And Mama says, be intentional. I love that.
You must, because it'll catch you off guard.
Whew.
Listen, I was doing the rowing exercise. So they had a Friday where they, it's called Restore.
Okay.
And at the end of that class, they played the song that was played at my mother's funeral. After I just got finished, like, I did this, I finished this, I touched my heart. I'm like, is that song? And you know what I did? I just let the tears come.
Wow.
That was this year. My mother died in 2005.
Wow.
Okay? So I just let the tears come. Sometimes you just got to let them come.
Yes.
Tears, don't be afraid of your tears.
Yes.
Because, we always got to be strong and well put. That's not strength.
I thought it was. When my dad died, I refused to cry. I wanted to be strong for my mom. And I remember you telling me that you can't do it.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it, Dr. C.
Where did we get the notion that we could be strong for other people?
That's our culture, maybe. Is that our culture? To
That's
be
something
strong
we
for?
made up. That's something we made up.
We
I'm
did.
not strong for me. So
See?
how to be strong for you? So
Wow.
we created this idea that why can't we all cry together? Why can't we embrace each other and cry? Why do I have to suppress my tears?
Yeah.
And seemingly it's gonna help somebody else that I suppress. It's killing me.
Yeah.
That I won't allow myself to cry.
Right.
Because I'm thinking that I can be strength for a woman who just lost her husband.
Yeah.
I can be supportive. I can pray. I can cook for you.
Right.
There are things I can do, but I can't be strong for you.
And I didn't want to leave her by herself. I brought all my clothes over there. My mama said, "You do know you can go home, right?" I'm like,
I ain't asked you to come over here and stay. We again assume we know what a person needs. I was watching an interview with Malcolm Jamal Warner's mother. And I was so
that's good, Z.
She was like, he lived. She was like, you know, my girlfriend came over and stayed 2 weeks. I was ready for them to go. She was like, he lived, and I have work to do in honor of him.
That's so good.
She said, whatever we needed to iron out as mother and son, whatever conversations we needed to have, we had them.
Praise God.
So a lot of this grief be regret for some.
Wow.
Because I ain't talked to you in 6 months because I had an attitude, and now you gone.
That's deep. Regret.
Biblically, it tells us each day as if it's our last.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Because I don't want to live in regret. And when my dad passed away, and I stood over him, I'm like, I hope you knew I loved you. I don't know if I said it enough in the last, 40 years, but it made me think I need to say I love you more to people. You may assume that they know, but it's good to say.
It's good, but it's not even just good to say, it's good to show.
Show it, yes. To demonstrate love. Yes.
Zita says the Bible says when one of us hurt, we all should hurt. When one of us cry, we all should cry because we all belong to the Most High and we're interdependent.
True.
And if we begin to unify again, we can cry together, we can laugh together. And just because I'm laughing don't mean I'm not grieving.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Joy and pain. That's what the maids say. It's like sunshine and the rain. That's
sunshine and rain.
That's real. But we have to grasp that as you travel through your journey, then there is the final stage of grief is acceptance.
What does that look like?
What that looks like is I have accepted that this person is not here.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt me.
Right.
But I have decided to live out loud again.
Okay.
I decided whatever trips my mother didn't get a chance to take, I'm going.
See, I love that.
You know what I mean? My mother died at 60. I'll be 60 in 2 years. So I'm living.
Live. Wow. That's good.
We still have a right to live.
Wow.
Even though we suffer when even though we suffer, we still have a right to live.
And some people isn't there something called survivor's guilt?
There is. So it depends again on the death. My son was in a car accident his first year of college. got out the front seat, got in the back seat, and the guy in the front seat died in the car crash.
Ooh, my Lord.
So he thought it should have been him.
Mm.
And he suffered because mine got out the seat. That he wouldn't be dead if it wasn't for me getting out the seat.
Mm. Wow.
So that's when things traumatic happen and one survive and another person don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then it's that survivor's guilt. Like, what was it about me that I lived and this person is gone?
Mm-hmm.
And you begin to question your fate
Mm-hmm.
as a result. Or that's like even during COVID. So many people died.
Yes.
Some did not and had COVID and lived. Some had COVID and died. So it was
Right.
like, oh my God, you know. And so it's learning how to turn survivor's guilt into gratitude.
Mm. Mm. That's good. That's good. Let's talk about journaling for a minute. How do you feel that journaling helps in terms of grief? Because one thing, I used to journal a lot, but now at 50, for some reason, my attention span, how tired I am,
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it like I used to. I have journals everywhere, and I want to sit down and do it, but after a couple words, I'm falling asleep. But I want to be able to empty out. I do.
Mm-hmm.
How does that help people during this time?
Well, it's a release. It's a release. I mean, it's no magic wand. It's no quick fix. It's just a release. It's just a way to release your thoughts and your emotions so that they're not bottled up on the inside.
Yeah.
If you don't have someone that you can call and talk to, it could be a sacred practice. You can, you can put on some soft music.
Mm-hmm.
And decide that I'm going to focus in this moment and, practice a healing process.
Oh, I like that.
They have journals for grieving, guided journals, like
Okay.
what would you say about this person today? Or what about your life have changed since the person left? And you would answer those questions.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a way for you to identify who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need help with that.
I do. My mama says, Tanya, you were journaling at 5 years old. I was. I've been writing a long time. I want to get back to it because that was always my outlet. And I need to create that space, like you said, and make that time and get my candles. I love aromatherapy. Get a quiet moment and just, this is my moment before I go to bed. I don't want to take a lot of this into my sleep, into my subconscious. I really just want to just dump a lot of this out. When my dad passed away, I felt like I, as the oldest child, had to keep it together. I wanted to intercept all the calls from my mom. I did not want her to have to deal with nothing because she lost her parents in 98, 6 months apart. Now her husband is gone. So I felt like the oldest child has to step up and be the everything.
But where did you get that from?
I don't know where I got that from. I don't. I just figured that
sometimes we put that's a great gesture. I'm not minimizing it, but sometimes we put ourselves in roles that we shouldn't.
This is true.
Not when I'm not churchy. I do believe in, I shout out to my pastor, Bishop Edgar Van.
Yes, sir.
Co-pastor, First Lady. We don't have to spiritualize everything, but when we are believers, where the power lies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not in me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not in me.
Thank you, Mom.
And so we have to be mindful of that. And some of us suffer emotionally as to why we believe that we have to jump in and fix stuff. We're not fixers.
We're not. And I do the same thing in my corporate life.
Yeah.
I find myself, the email goes out to the whole team, but I'm the one, I got it. I need to stop that because it wears you down. You don't give yourself time to breathe on nothing.
And you have to ask yourself, why do I do that?
Why do I?
What has led me to always be the one to jump in?
Wow.
Which is a different conversation than grief.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so with grief, because we only have a few more minutes, we know the stages again, anger, depression, and that's just what's mentioned. But yes. I wanted for a moment speak about traumatic grief disorder.
Okay.
And that's when someone dies from a traumatic death and the symptoms begin to overtake you, the grieving process, the trauma of the event, where you move from just having isolated incidents of grief to chronic incidents of whatever, losing weight, like I mentioned, depression, that's severe, because mental illness you can have one episode and get a diagnosis, but if you look up and it's been 90 days and you ain't got out the bed, then that is something where, hey, look, I need some help, because that's not the way to manage.
Yes.
It's no judgment, but that's not the way to manage. And so that's when help is needed. And the thing is, we have to begin to make grief not just like an isolated incident, but make it a part of our ministries on a regular basis.
Yes.
Make it a part of these forums, because grief in the African American community is different.
Woo. That's a conversation right there. We got a comment. Zita says, we do put ourselves in positions that we are not asked for, because in our hearts, we feel that if I show up for this person, that things will be better for them. Exactly, sis. That's in our mind. That's what we want to do. Instead of asking the person, would you like for me to stay with you? Is there anything that you need from me in this moment? We put our emotions on people when it's not even called for or needed, because we feel a certain kind of way. That's very well put. Very well put, sister.
Very well put. And then as you prepare for the holidays, what did you learn from that person? A lot of times for some, if they were not these successful, profile people, that, it's nothing that they brought to the table. Well, what did what did you learn from your son, when he was here? What did you learn from your mom? What did you learn that you can utilize that now?
Yes.
Like my father would, and I didn't know it until after he died, because my dad was an alcoholic. So it was hard to listen to him at night. But he would always tell me, Crystal, Chrissy, he would call me Crystal. He's like, your name ain't Crystal, it's Crystal. The way it's spelled.
Yes.
He would say, you are not average. Period. Don't ever accept average. Well, I didn't know why he was telling me that. I didn't know he was going to die when I was 17.
Wow.
So it didn't dawn on me until his death, what the things he was saying to me or showing, in spite of the dysfunction. It was still things that he was saying to me to prepare me. And so sometimes we have to sit back and say, well, what can I learn from that person, or that's no longer here, that I can activate, which is, what is their legacy? Legacy is not just about money. I know the Bible says to leave an inheritance, but it's also, how did that person communicate? Did that person, was he funny? Did he make us laugh? What were some characteristics about that loved one that that can make your heart feel good? And so learning how to highlight those things in your life.
Absolutely. And that's why when my mother ministers, and she is an ordained preacher.
Amen.
And she's been preaching for a while. Every time I see her at the podium, I see my grandmother. And my grandmother was the community prayer warrior. She was that one that everybody called when they needed, prayer, or something good happened, something bad happened, they would call Ruthie Mae Carter, and my mom's phone rings just like that. And I have the same thing with me. I guess that is our way that we continue the memory of Ruthie Mae Carter, because my mom's house was called Prayer Headquarters, because a lot of prayer going on. And my mom is that person. Her ministry, like she said, she ministers to the bereaved as a part of her ministry. And she's able to do that because she's gone through the loss of her husband of 30 years. So, yep. We have one more here. Sister says, my father passed when I was 18 years old. He used to always call me unicorn. Wow. I never understood why until I became an adult. Wow. Yeah, mommy, that's the legacy. Legacy.
And that's the thing. Sometimes we, in the midst of the pain, have to say, well, what did they leave behind?
Yeah,
that is beneficial, not just for me, but the people around me, or for generations to come.
Yes.
And so it's really important to not just focus on the feeling of the loss, but activate, that pain into some other methods, for your livelihood and for the people around you. But those things are all intentional. They are. And it's just not going to happen. You have to decide to call it activating your pain on purpose. Like I gave big parenting conferences after my mother did to help parents, because just whatever you can do. Now, not, like other cultures, they start benefit dinners and they
foundations.
They do all kind of things in honor of their loved one. And so just sitting back and asking God, what steps do you want me to take now? To bring whatever, maybe they had a dream that they didn't fulfill that can be now birthed. And so those types of intentional things in getting through the holiday, and not just the holidays, period. The holidays intensify things because we are a culture that gather and eat and entertain and do all of those things, and it's very hard to maneuver. But when you have a legacy behind, you can decide to focus on that in spite of how you feel. But a lot of people, I need to just feel this way because I'm honoring them because I'm in pain.
Wow.
And if I decide to move forward from this pain, I feel like I'm not loyal to my loved one.
Wow.
And the loyalty is not to die when they die.
Ooh, that's powerful.
It's to
My
live.
God.
It's to live.
It's to live. The loyalty to them is to live.
Because I shall not die.
Come on.
But live.
Yes.
And declare the works of the Lord.
Ooh, that's good.
So now I'm going to take this pain and I'm going to activate my life to the next level.
That's it.
And what does that look like?
Wow. That's good. I love that, Dr. C.
What does that look like?
My grandmother's, one of her last wishes was me to get my degree. I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to walk across that stage.
Just get it.
I'm going to get it.
Just decide, I'm going to get my degree by such and such a time and get it.
Yes. I'm going to do that. And I want to help others go to school. I want a scholarship in her name. I want to do things in her honor. I love that.
Get your degree.
Amen.
And everything else will follow.
I'm going to do it, Mama. I'm going to do it.
I think this has been a great conversation.
Oh, yes.
There is no one way for it, a specific method for everyone. These were just some things that is recommended that people can do through the holidays.
Mhm.
But live.
I
But
love
live.
that. Before we go, Dr. C, how can people reach you if they're interested in doing so?
They can I'm going to give my website,
Okay.
which is clestrategicsolutions.com. My email, clestrategicsolutions@gmail.com. My Instagram is look, I can't even think of the name. It's Dr. Crystal Eason is the Instagram.
Okay.
And my contact number, 313-784-4795.
This has been really helpful, Dr. C. Thank you for letting me tag along with you
Of
today.
course,
I
always.
enjoyed this. And thank you to everybody in the chat. Will you
Thank
share
you
this?
for your comments.
Thank you. Great engagement. Thank you. Please share. Please tag, follow. Finally, I Choose Me is a whole community. Please go ahead and follow. Dr. C gives great content and encouragement on how to choose you and make you a priority, where authenticity intersects with purpose.
Amen.
Love to have you in the group. So yeah, join the community. We're getting some things coming through here. Thank you, Dr. C.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This has been awesome. Thank you, sister. We appreciate you all so much.
Yes, we do. And we will be returning with this topic because it's ongoing.
Absolutely. All right, Dr. C, you got your last words, and we're going to get on out of here.
Hey, my last word is live.
I love it.
It's
I love it. I'm going to live. I need y'all to live too. All right.
Yep.
All right. So,
all right. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Dr. C.